Sorry about that. Having some technical issues. It happens. Get over it. So I'm just going to move on to my 3 critiques. Actually, this week I got 4. That's fine. One of them isn't really like a critique of a specific like business startup, but my nephew, let's say, or cousin, I'm not going to get into details, was asking me about like getting into the trades, like a career in the trades, and I think that is a really good idea. If I could go back and do it all over again, I know that I'm contradicting myself here a little bit, but that's all right. I'm allowed to do that. If I could go back, instead of going to college, which I had no business being there, and that's why like I got into so much trouble in college, because there was like no reason for me to be there. I already knew how to like make money. I already was personable. I could already work with other people. I could already like network. I just feel like that like it wasn't a good place for me. And the other thing is like I was thinking about this today. Like I had a buddy when I was in college, and he was like getting an English degree. And he was like a salesman, and he was good at sales. So it's like, dude, you already know how to be a salesman. You don't need a fucking English degree. What are you going to go be an English teacher? You don't want to do that. I know you don't want to do that because your actions tell me you don't want to do it. And then I had like another friend. I had like a bunch of friends in college, and there was no reason for them to be there because they didn't know what they wanted to be. They got degrees that didn't get them careers. They just like got jobs. And it was like, the jobs that they got, and like me too, like the job that I got out of college was a fucking joke. I didn't make any money. It was just a burner job. It was just a job that these corporations like give to like fresh out of college kids that are just fresh out of college. That it's just like, I was just like doing telemarketing. I mean, it was fucking stupid. But if you get a trade, if you like get a job in the trades, you have a skill you can like use for your entire life. So like, I wish that I would have like been a plumber because I would have been making money. I would have been learning. I could have still partied. I could have had more fun partying because I would have had money, and I'd be like really learning something, and I would have been like racking up tons of debt, and I would have not fucked around as much because I knew I would have to get up and go to work the next day, or like I would be like, well, I have to like work on Monday. So I can't like get totally obliterated every weekend because I'm going to like pay for it when I'm like digging trenches on Monday. And then like, not only that too, like when you have a trade, like you have like a culture, like your other like plumbing buddies, like the guys that you like see at the union hall or whatever, like you have like friends to like hang out with, you know? Obviously I have friends in college or whatever, but I mean, it's like different. It's like a different kind of camaraderie, the guys that you're like working with, you know? And the other thing too is like when you're in the trades, like you can like make a lot of money. You know, I knew guys when I was in college, when I was like 21, they were plumbers and they were making over $100,000 a year when they were 21. They had houses, they had cars, their life was already started, and I was just spinning my tires trying to figure out what I wanted to be when I grow up. You can be a plumber, and then after you're a plumber, be like, I don't want to fucking do that anymore. I want to sell real estate, or I want to do this, or I want to do that. But you can always go back to plumbing because you like know it. So, and not necessarily like plumbing, but plumbing's good. Any like skilled trade is good to like do. It's good to know. You're never going to be like without a job. Even if the economy takes a total shit, if your basement's filling up with sewage, you're going to call a plumber, you know. If your lights don't work, you're going to call an electrician. If your power doesn't work, if your air conditioner goes out, you're going to call an HVAC guy. You're not going to try to fucking figure it out yourself. So, and those jobs are not going away. Those jobs can't be automated, by the way. You could never automate what a plumber does or an electrician or a carpenter because the machine, first of all, like you couldn't program a machine to do what like a skilled tradesman can do. It's not like driving a nail into something or like attaching a door, like a metal door to like a metal car, or like shaving like a piece of metal off something in a factory on an assembly line. you're like problem solving and like adjusting things on the fly whenever you're like doing stuff. So those things can never be automated. They're never going to go away. You also can't like teach people from like the third world like how to like plumb or how to do electrical or like HVAC, because they have to be able to like comprehend English to learn it, right? So those are like pretty well like insulated jobs that are never going to go away. So I'm like a real advocate for people getting like involved in the skilled trades. So that's a yes for me. So the next one is somebody opening where I live. They want to open a mechanic shop. I'm fine with that. I think that there's like a lot of opportunity there, because there's like a lot of like small jobs that like a mechanic shop can do where you don't necessarily need like diagnostic machines, shit like that, like changing brakes, doing this, doing that. The old neighborhood I used to live in, there was like two brothers that had a mechanic shop like right kind of like on the boundary of our neighborhood, and the place was like swamped all the time. They had tons of business all the time. I think it's good if you can like do a niche, like maybe you do like mufflers, or like specifically you do brakes, or like specifically transmissions. But I think that like a mechanic shop, it's like tough to go wrong unless you mismanage it. So mechanic shop I like, that's a yes. The third one I love, it's buying a junkyard. And I think that like buying a junkyard could be really, really good. A guy that my dad went to high school with bought a junkyard in Nevada, and everyone like after high school, and like everyone thought he was like totally insane. He's like a multi-fucking millionaire because people give him their garbage and then he sells their garbage to other people. And I mean, it just works out really good. So junkyard, for those of you who don't know, for what we're talking about, it is a place where people will sell their car for like the scrap price. The junkyard usually will like scrap the car out. They might strip the cars of like any useful parts and then resell the used parts. A junkyard could also be they buy cars and then like sell the cars for scrap metal, or they buy and sell scrap metal. So that's kind of different. That's more of a scrap metal yard. But for what we're talking about, a junkyard is buying cars that are crashed or no good anymore and then parting them out. I think that could be really good. You have to think about like not having tons of competition. You have to think about like where you're at, how you're going to be selling the stuff, things like that. But I think it could be good. There's always like a market for like used car parts. So just from my own life, one of my friends bought like an old F-150, not old, but like a 2001 F-150. And the bed of it was like rusted out, but he didn't want to like pay to have the rust repaired because it was like absurdly expensive. So he was like, well, fuck it. I'll just go to a junkyard and buy like another bed, because there's a million F-150s on the road. There has to be like a bed. So he ended up just buying like this bed. It was like $400. But if he wanted to like repair the rust on the bed that was already on his truck, it was like, I don't know, like $1,000. So he's like, fuck it, I'll just get a new bed. Worked out great, And then the fourth idea is, I know somebody, and they want to switch careers and go to like school to be a hairdresser. I really like that. I think you can like do really well as a hairdresser if you can build up your book of business. Women spend an obscene amount of money on their hair. They do all kinds of crazy shit. I like get a haircut maybe like twice a year. I try to keep it halfway reasonable. But like a lot of times, like I said earlier in this episode, it's like I'm just like working at a flip. I'm just like doing construction. So I'll like let my hair get like pretty out of control. And I wear a hat every day. So I just slick my hair like straight back. But females get like, they like get their hair cut. Well, I guess they don't get their hair cut. They get it like dyed and like this and that. And like there's some shit. My sister's a hairdresser, and it's like some of the stuff is like $125 that they have done to their hair. If someone said, if I want a haircut and someone was like, oh, it's over $20, I would like walk the fuck out. I wouldn't even do that. So I think that the hairdresser, I mean, that's really good. You also make a lot of money like selling products. I know that they like, like you can only get certain things like from a stylist or whatever. The other thing that I really love that I've seen before that I was like thinking about buying one of these, but I guess you like have to have a beautician's license in Nebraska. But what it is it's a business that is just a bunch of bays that this woman who's a hairdresser, she owns all these bays, and then she just rents out the bays to the beauticians. They don't work for her. She is just basically like the landlord of this place, and they have their own business set up in like each bay that they rent. And it's like that's a pretty like damn good business because you're just collecting rent, and the people that are there aren't going to leave because once their clients are like used to going there and it works out for them or whatever, they're just going to stay. So I think that's a really good too. So I think there's like a tons of different angles you can go with being a hairstylist. So I like all of them. So I guess this is like 4 likes in a row, which is pretty impressive for me. So in closing, I just appreciate you guys stopping by. Sorry for the technical difficulties. I don't think I record with Anchor FM. I don't think you can like do any audio. I don't think I can like fix that. So I think you're just going to have to like, I appreciate you guys sitting through. I'll try not to do that again, but I was so fired up with the 80s rock, the flipping, the business for sale. I went over a little bit on time, and that's why we had the technical issues. So I will try not to go over on time again in the future. But appreciate you guys stopping by. Please share the show. That really helps me a lot. And also connect with me on Facebook. I was doing Instagram a little bit, but I don't like have time to fuck with that. So just connect with me on Facebook. So anyway, until next time, see ya.